Welcome back to a series I haven't done in like a year. And there's kind of a good reason for that because I have anything to review. Because the last thing I reviewed for this particular series was the last two light novels released for this series. What series am I talking about? Bleach. Yep. Previously last year, I had reviewed every single season for the Bleach anime. I currently own the first two seasons of the anime, and I own two T-shirts for Bleach. And I reviewed all 16 seasons of Bleach, the four films, and I reviewed the last two light novels released. And of course, I did do a review of the final arc of the manga. So yeah, this is Bleach anime review part 11. Yes, part 11. I'm not calling it a special, I'm calling it part 11. This one I'm reviewing the Bleach live action film. This film is loosely, I say loosely, based upon the first saga of the Bleach manga, the Substitute Soul Reaper arc, which in the manga took up the first 8 volumes of the collected edition. Yep. For, let's see, how many chapters was it? I know in the anime it took up just the first season of the show. Yes. In the manga, let's see, first 8 volumes. So basically, it covered the first, around the first 70 chapters. Yeah. Now, I gotta say, when it comes to these characters, they got a lot of these characters right. There was a couple of characters they missed in here, but they got a good chunk of these characters. They got Ichigo's father in here, and he's kind of similar to how he's depicted in the anime, but he's not over the top. He's not getting constant fights with his son like he did in the anime and manga. Yeah, as a matter of fact, almost any time he would constantly try to fight him. Here you see him briefly fighting at the beginning as he's late for dinner. Rest of the time, they just act perfectly normal. And the change that was a change I was happy they made. Another one was him obsessing over a mirror of his dead wife. Yeah, there's a big picture of her on the wall, but it's not like a giant mural where he's like, "Oh, I can't get past you." It was a recurring gag in the anime and the manga of him obsessing over a picture of his dead wife. I am so happy that they did not put that in the movie because that would have been stupid. I'm glad the fact his sisters are there. I don't know who the actors are for who play his sisters. They do a fantastic job playing his sisters. They're not annoying. They're not seen very much, and for Karine, similar to how she acts, but not exact. They kind of got the personalities off a little bit, but the only one thing they did get right about these two was the fact, that Karine was taller than Yuru. I'm a little surprised they didn't have Yuru's hair dye blonde. I'm a little surprised they didn't do that. I'll get to Ichigo in a minute. And their role in the film was fine. There's no mention of Karine seeing Ghost. Yeah, that was something that they actually did not do at all, which is a little weird. Also, Yuru was the one who did the cooking. I'm not sure why they changed it where Asana is the one who does all the cooking, and while in both the manga and anime, it was Yuru who did all the cooking. Which I'm like, that's okay. That is kind of an understandable change due to the fact they probably would not get My guess is some audiences here, or at least maybe in Japan, but would probably not like it in live action, where a child basically is cooking food near hot stuff. My guess is in the anime manga this is acceptable, and also the live action probably wouldn't take it. Okay. In the case of Orihime, Ichigo get last. Orihime, I gotta say, they did a pretty good job with this character. You don't see her very much. As a matter of fact, there's no sign that she actually has her powers at all. Yeah, I thought that was a little weird. I'm happy they gave her the hairpins. I'm very happy they included those because as soon as I saw those hairpins, yep, that's Orihime. They're a little bit smaller than they usually tend to be. Because usually they're like giant, they're kind of like big snowflakes. Here, they're just tiny little pins on the sides of her heads. I'm like, okay, that's a little odd. Chad is pretty much in character mostly. Except he doesn't do very much the whole film. I'm like, this is Chad? Really? When I first saw this guy in the trailers, I'm like, Really? This is Chad? Okay. He doesn't do very much aside from catching a big sign. And of course helping out Ichigo. But aside from that, well, they at least got... There's some things to get right about Chad. One, he's taller than Ichigo. And two, he's kind of like Ichigo's close best friend. Tatsu. Excuse me. I didn't know this was Tatsu at all. I was kind of hoping they would include her in the film, and they did. They did include her. And like Orihime, she doesn't do very much at all. She just follows Orihime around. As a matter of fact, almost every scene Orihime is in, Tatsu's always there. But I'm very happy they included her because she's Orihime's best friend. And they don't mention about Ichigo and Tatsu growing up together, being close friends. They don't mention it at all. As a matter of fact, nothing is really mentioned about the past a lot of the characters. The only character aside from Ichigo you can't see some development of these characters is Rukia. Yeah, they mentioned she grew up in the Rukon district and she was adopted by the Kutsuki family. That is true. Yep, that was mentioned by Renji. Yep. Now, Rukia, how she's introduced in the movie is, well, different than how she was introduced in the manga. In the manga, she opens a window, steps on Ichigo's desk. Ichigo sees her, and then Ichigo kicks her in the back of the head. Here, it's like, oh, he just talks to her. It's like, oh, you can see me? Yeah, I'm like, really? They changed that? And yet, I gotta praise the introduction of Ichigo. They nailed this perfectly. Yeah. All they did was change location. The whole scene is pretty much exactly the same as depicted from the manga. Yeah, I'm kind of like, what happened to this particular thing? Yeah. Chad's introduction, I don't remember him being here at all. Yeah, he doesn't show up that much the whole film, and the guy doesn't get many lines. Or he even gets a good amount of lines in the film. Also, there was one major change to me in Rukia. A couple changes. One, the fact that she tried twice to get her powers back in a very weird way, trying to reverse what she did with Ichigo. Like have Ichigo take the sword out and stab her. You're like, oh yeah, it doesn't work. She never did this in the manga or anime. I'm not sure why they had her do this for. Yeah. Now, one thing I gotta criticize about the film is the lack of hollows. You know how many hollows there are in this whole film? There are only 3. You have Grand Bone, which they did a fantastic job with this guy. I don't mind the fact that he was blue, despite the fact in the anime he was black. I don't mind the change, but at least the guys look correct. Grand Fisher looked fantastic. I love his look. Except they didn't make one small change. They didn't have the thing attached to his head with the spirit of whatever was like a little girl or his mother. Yeah, they did. They changed that, but I'm glad for his appearance. They actually got that correct. And oh yeah, the whole thing of they did loosely adapt a little mini story arc of Ichigo and Oru doing a challenge to each other. Him loosening out the bait and possibly Mahala's coming to their town. Yeah, this went nowhere. I'm not sure why they included this scene if they're not going to follow up, especially with the Grand Mudos, which was seen from the manga. I'm a little surprised that it isn't here. Ururu himself, I gotta say, the movie did a pretty good job with him, and they kept a lot of his backstory intact, somewhat anyways. They don't bring up the fact that he was trained by his grandfather to be a Quincy. He just mentions that he's a Quincy and about his past, a little about the history of the Quincy's. And, of course, showing off his awesome bow, which, gotta praise the CGI for that bow. It looks very good and very accurate from the manga and the anime. Yes, I gotta praise it for that. But before I get to Byakuya and Renji, Ichigo, well, they nailed his introduction scene perfectly. The actor himself did a pretty good job what he was given, though I think it was a little odd that he made him somewhat weak character, where he doesn't know martial arts for some reason. In the manga, he did. Here, he just a guy who half the time of the movie didn't feel like doing Reaper training, and eventually he decided, okay, let's just do Reaper training for just because he wanted to defeat the Grand Fisher. Yeah. So mostly put, when it comes to this particular film, the only parts of the sub-story arc they did adapt, they adapted the first chapter, a little bit of the second chapter, most of the Grand Fisher arc, and like toward the end, excuse me, of the sub-story, they adapted a few parts of the sub-story arc. Yeah, they have parts of it, but not the entire thing. There was still a ton of other stuff happening in the sub-story arc. I mean, they didn't even do the whole thing of Orihime's brother. Yeah, he's never seen the film at all, which I'm like, why couldn't you include a scene with her being attacked by a hollow? Instead, the only time you see Orihime, you see her walking around, or, let's see, or in class. That's all you. Oh yeah, you see her also in that little fast food place, which is something that I don't remember they actually went to this place in the manga or anime, just something they made for the movie. Yeah. Uh, let's see. Oh yeah, there's one character I'm very happy with his with how they did this character. Urahara. They nail his look right. They mention he was exiled Soul Reaper. Okay, fine. They don't develop much in the guy. As for his shop, well, outside looks pretty much the same as it does both in the manga and anime. Here it's just okay. The interior looks a little bit different, and also, where the heck is employees? I mean, he's supposed to have a guy who wears an apron all the time, who used to be a lieutenant in the Keto Corps, and two children. He's supposed to have these three people working for him, and yet they're nowhere to be seen. As a matter of fact, he's not even seen very much the whole film. He's only seen like 3 times. I'm like, you include Urahara, and I gotta praise the actor for actually bothering to put on the costume and actually having his hair the exact way it's how it's normally presented. But here it's just they don't use them very much. Yeah, that's my only criticism of the character. They got the look right. I'm glad the fact he has a shop, though they call it no, it's a candy shop. Here it's just an antique shop for some reason. I'm like, that's a little weird. Okay, fine. Oh yeah. They don't have Ichigo. One thing they do change by Ichigo is they don't have him criticizing Rukia's drawings, because Rukia is a terrible artist and she loves drawing bunnies. Yeah, they don't bring up her obsession with the Chappie's toys thing. They don't bring up that session at all. Let's see. Rukia, mostly, the actors nailed her part really well. I would say, character-wise, they pretty much got a lot of the character right. I would tell you the 2 characters they really mishandled the film, in my opinion, was Byakuya and Renji. I'm like, why in the world is Renji so bloodthirsty? He was never this bloodthirsty at all. It's like he really wanted to kill Ichigo so badly. Heck, even Byakuya, which I'm actually surprised he didn't use his signature move in the film. I was kind of hoping he would do that, but nope. I was happy with Renji using Zabimaru. Yeah, I like the fact the way he did just rub his hand across, and he didn't say roar Zabimaru like he did in the dub. He just says, Zabimaru, roar. Yeah, I'm a little surprised they changed the line, but I'm so happy they managed to get this part correct about Renji. It was his sword, his Zabimaru. I gotta praise the actor for actually also bothering to actually look the part, which, even though that they kind of teased him, like showing like him in shadow, but anybody who saw the promotional stuff for this movie know what this guy looks like. And I gotta say, appearance-wise, the guy who played Renji did a fantastic job. Appearance and basically, with his action scenes. I didn't care for the fact that he was bloodthirsty. Byakuya being ruthless, that is kind of true. Yes, Byakuya was very ruthless. But, yeah. And of course, Ichigo acted the way he did during this particular scene where he fights Renji and Byakuya in this scene. Yeah, even though it's a change. And also, this is also something that Renji never did in the manga. Stabbing Urduru through the back. I'm like, what the heck was this? Like, why in the world would Renji even stab Urduru? As far, like, prior to this, these two never saw each other at all prior to this. I mean, he knew there was a Quincy around, but it was his kid. Like, what do you do? Witness his kid? Like, he never saw this kid before this battle. Like, oh, let's just stab this Quincy for really no reason at all. Okay. fine. Let's see. Byakuya. I gotta praise the guy for giving the guy when he was doing his performance. I believe this guy was definitely Byakuya, definitely by his methods and I'm a little surprised he spent so much time in the real world, even though that. Here's the thing: Renji and Byakuya never saw the Grand Fisher in the manga, or at least in the anime. They never did. They didn't show up much later. They didn't show up toward the end of the Soul Reaper. I'm a little surprised. I'm happy they threw them in. I was hoping they'd show up at the end, but not like partway through the film. Oh, there was one thing I was so happy to see. Like as soon as I'm like, oh look, it's a Sarate. Yep, we see very briefly. Like we see it for like a good about 10 seconds. I gotta say, for its screen time it got, it looks fantastic. It's very accurate. I gotta praise the special effects people for doing a fantastic job for having a Sarah to actually look right. Despite we see it briefly, they do a fantastic job with it. I kind of wish that we would see more of the Soul Reaper captains. Now, Renji does refer to Byakuya as captain, but they never refer to Renji's rank the whole film, which I'm like, that's a little weird. Like, Byakuya doesn't really not Byakuya. Renji does refer to himself as Lieutenant Renji Aberrane. Yep. Yeah, they don't do that for some reason, which I thought that was a little weird. Let's see, what else? Asan, well, despite the fact that the actor did pretty much nail the character pretty well, he's one of those. He's like most of the characters appear in the film. They don't get much to do at all. I mean, you see Asan. I'm glad the fact they kept that he's a doctor. My only there's a few other criticisms I have with him. One big criticism I have is we don't get a chance to see the Kurosaki clinic. Yeah, the clinic is never seen the whole film. Even though we confirm that Asan is a doctor, we don't see the clinic at all. Which, that I think was a mistake on the part of the filmmakers to not showing the clinic itself. Also, they did miss like a few characters. I'm not that surprised Orihime's two other female friends didn't show up in the film. But in the case of Ichigo, there's like a couple others that didn't show up in the film, but let's see. I think it was there's two other male friends he has besides Chad. That kind of keeps to Ichigo like possibly dying. Yeah, he does this like 3 times the whole film. Like tries to confirm that Ichigo died, but nope, I'm not dead. I'm like, seriously? Why the heck would you keep constantly referring to this stupid gag? Let's see. Yeah, it's Mats. No, that's not it. Where is he? Yeah, Chotsuru is not in the film. Let's see. I know Tatsuki is. There's actually Let's see. They don't. Let's see. Yeah, I can't find these kids' name. I know close friends of Ichigo. Yeah, for some reason the other guy is not here. Just one of them. I'm like, really? I'm not sure who this guy is. They don't mention his name the whole film. It could be one of the others. I don't remember his name. Let's see. Yeah, I think it's Kaigo. Yeah, I think it could be him or the other one. Yeah, they don't really mention this guy's name, but yeah, I would say, uh, mostly put when they adapted the first chapter, they did a really good job despite changing a few things. The battle with Grand Fisher, I'm a little surprised they moved away from the park. Yeah, they put it in the middle of a town of the Katakura town square. I'm like, really? Why the heck would you move it to a train station for it caused lots of damage? Also, to cover up the fact that Rukia is fighting a bunch of hollows, yeah, it's basically everyone's seeing tornadoes. Okay, I can kind of buy that, but ended up on the news was a little weird. So you're saying that a lot of tornadoes were all caused by battles between Soul Reapers and Hollows? Okay, yeah. Let's see. Was there anything else? Hmm. Yeah. Also, the way that Rukia got her powers back, that is something never happened in the manga. That's may have complete for the movie. Also, there was one particular thing I was not happy with the particular film. There apparently is a rule in the Reaper's Code, apparently, that Reapers can't become friends with humans. Or at least have an attachment to them. Like, no. This is made for the film. This is not from the manga or anime. Because, as far as I know, Byakuya had no problem with the fact that Rukia was good friends with Ichigo, or at least anybody, even prior to this. He doesn't have a problem with that at all. It's just that they were trying to interfere with the law. I was thinking about him basically trying to protect the law, at least something like that. Here, because she's developed an attachment to Ichigo, even though these two are not. Ichigo, as far as I can tell, watching this film, he does not have romantic feelings for Rukia. Not even the manga. People hint at this, but nope. For him, it's protecting Rukia. And there's a line in the film. I didn't like this line in the manga anime. I'm kind of glad they kept this line in, basically calling Rukia after Ichigo touches Byakuya's leg, or he grabs him after he basically gets sliced up. He says, "Don't touch my brother, you lowly human." Yeah, she said this line in the manga and in the anime. I'm a little surprised they kept it in. Also, they didn't show the portal to the Soul Society. Yeah, they didn't show that at all in this. So I'm like, that's weird. Why the heck wouldn't they show it? And I'm like, how the heck did they even get here in the first place? You watch this film like if anyone was not familiar with Bleach, you're like, how the heck these people get here from this one place to another without this big portal? Yeah, it's called a Sakaimon, yet they'd include in the film. Yeah, this film did include a Sakaimon. There's like several characters missing, and one thing I'm a little happy with they didn't include in this film was Don Kanoji. I was not that surprised that they included in this film because the guy was kind of an annoyance anyways. The guy only appeared roughly like just a few times. Like, he had his own mini arc, he showed up during briefly Roncar, and a couple of filler episodes, and that's all they did with the character. I'm quite happy they included him in here because it would be kind of dumb if they included Don Kanoji. Who knows? I mean, they call this the Substitute Survivor arc. That's the other name for the Bleach film. Yeah, that's what they call it. That's the other name for this film, is the Substitute Survivor arc. It's referred to as the Bleach Soul Reaper Agent arc. Yeah. Also, they did briefly show Rukia in her white outfit. Oh yeah, they did change the name of the bodysuit that they have for when Soul Reapers get to see by everybody else. Here they call it a flux. I don't know why they changed it for, but it's called a Gigai. I don't know why they changed it for, and I know for the fact that this particular one was made by Urahara. Did they mention it's made by him? No, because the guy doesn't do very much in the film. I'm glad you see him. Yeah, I'm glad Orihime and Chad got a chance to see him for like one brief scene. I'm like, that's it? Yeah. I mean, though I was a bit disappointed with some of the events of the film. Story-wise, the film was actually really good. Yes, the film did have a really interesting story, and I do think the film was really good. I was disappointed with some of the changes they made, or at least the fact that some characters don't get a chance to do very much. Oh yeah, and also apparently, despite the fact in the manga anime, Orihime and Chad can't see ghosts, even though they never mention it at all. They can sense Ichigo's around, but for some reason they can't see him. I'm like, that's quite stupid. Yeah, but it's kind of like the only characters who do anything in this whole film is Ichigo and Rukia. It's like the people who made this film forget the fact that these other characters actually contribute to the plot. Yeah, they must have forgot about that. And also the stupid recurring gag of Ichigo being declared dead because of an accident or a truck being ran into his own house. Yeah. Oh yeah, by the way, when his father saw this, he basically overreacted like, oh no, what's with this giant hole? Here it's like, he already knows about it, and he barely has a reaction to it. In the anime, he overreacted. Here he doesn't have a reaction at all. Yeah. But it is a good film, despite its kind of dumb changes, and of course having that sort of happy ending. And the way this film ended is kind of like, are they not leaving it open for a sequel? I mean, Bleach is a good franchise you can def for a good series of films. Not a trilogy, mind you. I'd say about 5 or 6 films. Not a trilogy. But as a standalone movie, I kind of wanted more. And I'm a little surprised they didn't throw a post-credit scene here, which I'm like, that's a little weird. Like, maybe they can hint at maybe some more story heroes might show up, but nope. I watched through the whole credits. The credits themselves, believe it or not, it's a 6-minute credit sequence. Yeah. And the film itself, believe it or not, is like an hour and 48 minutes. It's like a little bit longer than the movie. But at least this one has, like, at least the film is interesting and doesn't have most of the characters be completely accurate how they're depicted from the manga and anime. Here, I gotta say that from the characters I've seen, they do closely get some of the characters right. I mean, I would say the one character that the only thing they got for this character is one particular thing as that's Tatsumi. Yeah, the only thing they got right about her is that she's Orihime's best friend. That's it. There's no mention she's fighting in a dojo. Nope, that's never brought up in the movie at all. Ichigo's home is the only one seen. I mean, Orihime's house was shown several times in this arc in the manga and anime. Here, it's never seen. I'm like, what's wrong with showing Orihime's house? And she lives by herself, believe it or not. Yeah. Though they probably wouldn't show a teenager live by himself, because here it's kind of, well, you gotta have an adult around. In Japan, apparently, it's not much problem as long as you have financial support, because Japan's different. Yeah, but otherwise, though, that's really it. It's a good film. I just didn't like the changes they made for some of the characters. But for Ichigo himself, appearance-wise, the actor did a fantastic job. He looked like Ichigo. His fight scene's fantastic. And his dialogue was actually really good, but I didn't like the fact half the time he didn't feel like being a story. I thought that was stupid. Yeah, I thought that was a really dumb choice for the writing for him. Otherwise, though, good character. I even liked the fact they kept in the whole thing of Grand Fisher killing his mother, though there was a little more story to this one than what they showed in the film. Alright, so that's particularly it for this particular review. I don't know when I'm going to do another thing related to Bleach. I have no idea. I mean, the only thing else I probably could review for Bleach is the first 4 light novels. That's the only thing else I can do for Bleach. Because I've read the manga, I've seen the anime, and I watched live action films. Well, the anime films. And of course, now I've seen live action film, okay? We'll do this next video. Bye.